welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I am Tammy, and we have a lot going on today. Today is New Year's Eve for me. Y'all are seeing this after New Year's. Happy New Year. I hope everybody had a fabulous New Year's Eve and that 2025 is going to be the best year yet for all of us. That's what I hope. That's our hope. That's our prayer. That's what we're going to say. We're going to put that positive positive energy out into the universe, and we're going to have a good 2025. Now today, not so much. Let me show y'all what happened to me today. So I'm just going to chat real quick. Hopefully I won't be too long-winded. Obviously, I'm standing in my kitchen. There's a reason for that. So today's New Year's Eve, like I said. Tomorrow is New Year's Day, obviously. I always cook New Year's lunch. If you want to see what I cook for New Year's lunch, that video is already up on my other channel. Anyway, what I wanted to tell y'all real quick before I get started undecorating the house is New Year's Day is also my middle grandson's birthday. So since they're coming over here to have New Year's lunch, we just figured we would just do a little family birthday party for him here. Because that's normally what they do at their house. Like on the day of their birthday, they get like cake and ice cream and, you know, little decorations, just a small something just for them, you know, just for family. And they do that with all their kids. But since they're going to be here, we're just going to do it here. So my son-in-law said, hey, do you want to just grab the stuff and I'll send you the money, whatever. And I said, yeah, of course, you know, I'll get it. So what I did was a Walmart delivery. I always do Walmart delivery. Very rarely do I have a problem with Walmart delivery. However, I ordered his decorations and all that. I ordered a big banner. You want to see what they sent me? This. Really? I mean, it's fine. It's a little banner. It'll work. Whatever. I ain't gonna be mad about it. They did not have a helium tank for me to do some balloons for him. So I ordered regular balloons and just like a regular little balloon pump, so at least we can have some to kick around. I can, you know, tape them to the chairs, whatever. But they didn't send me half the balloons I ordered. Okay, great, whatever. I have another bag of balloons. We'll make do. Y'all, I also ordered the cupcakes. Now, he loves chocolate. So I ordered instead of just like a big cake, because they're not eating a lot of sweets these days and we're not going to eat them here. So I didn't want to have too much, like a big cake that nobody was going to eat. So I said, I'll order the cupcakes from Walmart. I'll do half chocolate, half vanilla. That way everybody gets what they want. Do y'all want to see what they sent me? Brace yourself for this one. These are the cupcakes. Yeah, this is exactly how they came. Now, there are a couple missing because people at my house have just said, well, if we're not eating them for the birthday party, we'll just eat them. But y'all, come on. This looks like it got kicked down a flight of darn stairs. That isn't just shifting around in the bag. You know what I'm saying? Like they're upside down, sideways, stuck to each other. Really? Anyway, so I'm working, right? And I go into full-blown panic mode because now I'm like, well, it's tomorrow. I don't have time to go tomorrow because I have to do all the cooking. And now this baby ain't gonna have no darn cupcakes for his birthday party. Which my daughter was like, Mama, we'll just get them. And I was like, no, doggone it. It's the principle of the thing. I said I was gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. So then somebody who lives in my household says, hey, don't you have homemade chocolate cake mix in the pantry? Why, yes, I do. Look at me. Look at me all fancy with my homemade cake mix in the pantry. So that person, while I finished work, made us a big pan of cupcakes to save the day with my homemade cupcake mix. My homemade cake mix. So I also found this in the pantry. Shockingly, I don't even know why I have this, but it is good. The date's still good on it. But I'm not going to use these sprinkles. I have some different sprinkles I'm going to use because that's a little bit too Easter for me. But anyway, so that was my fun evening of panicking over cupcakes. Y'all may not even wanted to hear that. Y'all may be like, why are you even telling us this? But anyway, that's my life. That's how it goes. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with y'all. that is my drama that I had with Walmart delivery today. I might make a loaf of sourdough bread later. If I do, I'll bring y'all in here because I want to try something new with my sourdough bread to see how it works. We'll see how long it takes to get the Christmas decorations down. I feel like it's going to go pretty quick just because the fall decorations, remember how quick the fall decorations came down? And we're throwing the tree out, so there's that. But anyway, I'm going to go set y'all up in the living room, and then I will go get my boxes and bring those empty boxes in, and then we are going to unload all the Christmas stuff into the boxes and get it out to the garage so we can get the house reset. All right, y'all. I was more long-winded than I thought. I'm sorry. But anyway, let's get the house undecorated.
Maybe I never knew what I really wanted, but looking back I can see it's all clear. I'm still a kid trying to act like they all taught me, but nothing makes sense anymore. I could have seen it all coming, that I wouldn't grow wiser for each day. Am I the only one lost in translation, where nothing makes sense anymore?
That is all Christmas decorations down. I don't know if you can hear it or not, but they are already going crazy with the fireworks, and it is 7:30. So the cat is not loving the fireworks, so I don't think I'm gonna put the house back together tonight. I'll put it back together at some point. I'm not real sure what I want to do with it yet. I have I'm not gonna like rearrange the living room because my living room is small and I don't know that there's really a lot that I could do with it as far as like moving the big furniture around. But I may move around the things I sit around the house. I know y'all don't care what I have sitting around my house, but I'm just saying. That's why you're not seeing me like the finished product of me removing everything. The big tree is in the garage. It will go to the road at the end of the week or maybe next week, because sometimes with a holiday in the middle of the week, it kind of throws the trash pickup off. So I don't know if I'll put it out this week or if I'll just wait till next week just to be sure that they come and get it. And then everything else is in the garage, boxed up and waiting until everything goes back up into the attic. So, so yeah, I've got all that done. I pulled something in my leg and I don't even know what I did, y'all. You know how you're old and you're like, oh my God, I threw my back out. Well, what was you doing? I rolled over. Y'all know how it goes. I don't know what the heck I did to my leg, but I did something to it. It'll be fine. I mean, I'm just complaining. It'll be fine. But I am fixing to, it's 7:30 now. I'm not going to decorate for the party till tomorrow on the offhand chance that the cat decides he wants to play with balloons and things. I don't need balloons popping in the middle of the night scaring me to death. So I'm going to get up in the morning and do that. But in a little while, I'm going to wait a couple more hours because I'm going to be up till at least after midnight. It's New Year's, right? So I think I'm going to go take me a bath and get in my jammies and sit in the bed and maybe watch some TV. Maybe I'll read a book. I hadn't read my book in a while. Anyway, whatever I do, I think that's what I will probably go do, just to chill out because like I said, the cat is not loving these fireworks. I think that's it. If I decide to do the sourdough bread, to mix up the sourdough bread, I will definitely record that so y'all can see it because it's a very easy recipe. So I really want to see if it will work. I've done sourdough many, many, many times. And I want to try this recipe to see if it's easier because sourdough is a little bit labor intensive if you've ever made sourdough before. So I have some things. My daughter and my son-in-law got me a new lime and some stencils like for the top of your loaves to make your bread all pretty. It's a learning curve. I have rice flour because I have that here for some recipes. But I'm going to try maybe putting the little stencils on and using my rice flour. I might mess it up the first few times I do it. I mean, who knows? It's like I said, it's a learning curve. We got plenty of time. I love sourdough bread. I need to get back into baking it again. And yeah, anyway, if I come back and if I do sourdough bread tonight, I will bring y'all along, show you what I do all through the getting it together in the baking process and all that kind of stuff. So, but if not, if I do the sourdough, I'm going to put it right here. We're going to cut to the sourdough right now. So what we're using is not sourdough starter for this recipe. We are using Flat Hungry sourdough discard. So, but I might need to feed my stuff. So this is my discard fresh out of the fridge. Look at the hooch. All that hooch on there. So I'm gonna pour that off. I don't like the extra sourness that the hooch gives it, so I'm gonna pour mine off. But you can mix yours in if you like the really sour flavor of sourdough. So I'm gonna go do that, and then we're gonna hope and pray that we have enough. I think we will, but we're gonna hope we have enough of this, and I may go ahead and feed my sourdough starter because it's right here. I already poured the hooch off of it. But that way I can make more discard to add to my discard jar. So that's what I'm gonna do now. And then I'm gonna come back and then turn y'all around and then we will start putting this loaf of bread together. Okay, so you're gonna need a big bowl and a food scale. So you're going to use this unfed starter. That's the same one I just poured the hooch off of. And you're gonna need 165 grams of this starter. We're going to put that right into our bowl. Mine is thick because it's cold. If you let it sit out a little bit, it gets thinner. Some people's starter, well, everybody's starter is different consistencies. I see some people with super runny starter, and then I see people with really thick starter. Mine, whether it's active or discard, is usually pretty thick because I find that mine bakes better when my starter is thick, y'all. So I know some of y'all don't do sourdough. If you are interested, though, in starting sourdough, I do have videos on my other channel. They are older videos, especially my how to start a starter. So if anybody's interested in doing sourdough and you want a little bit more in-depth information, let me know because I could do like a whole video on sourdough if y'all want that. I don't have to, but if y'all want it, I don't mind doing it. So now I'm adding in 400 grams or 400 milliliters of room temperature filtered water. Now, some people say it doesn't need to be filtered. You could use this, you could use that. I always use what comes out of my refrigerator, and it's filtered in my refrigerator, you know. So that is what I use for mine, and I just sit it out and cover it with something and just let it come to room temp. That's the way I've always done mine. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? So you're going to mix up your discard or your unfed starter and your water. Get it good and mixed up. You might have a few little chunks in there. That's okay. And then we're going to add in our flour. I am using unbleached bread flour. I've also used all-purpose flour, but I always use unbleached. So that's just my preference. A lot of people do it different. I'm just telling you how I do mine. And I haven't made this particular recipe before, but I'm using the same ingredients that I would use in my regular recipe, okay? So now I'm adding 650 grams of bread flour. And this recipe, I don't know if I said this earlier, but it's called the Unloaf. And I don't remember who started it, but it's like all over the place. And normally with sourdough, you mix it up like this, right? What we're doing here, put all your ingredients and mix things up. And then you let it sit for an hour. Then you come back and you do stretch and folds every 30 minutes for like 2 hours. And then you shape it and then you let it sit on the counter for 6 to 8, 12 hours, however long it takes. And then you shape it again, put it in a basket, put it in the refrigerator, leave it overnight. Well, this is supposed to cut out all the work, right? So we're going to see if it works. So what I added just now is 15 grams of salt. And I'm just using sea salt because that's just what I have in my house. That's what I use. So 15 grams of salt. And that's it, y'all. That's all there is to making a loaf of sourdough bread. Your starter is flour and water. And then all you're really adding in here is flour and water. So that's what sourdough is. We don't have any extra junk in here. So I'm using my little Danish dough whisk. I love this thing. It mixes bread dough so good. And so I'm just mixing it up. I'm going to mix it up real good. Once I mix my dough where it's pretty well mixed together, I then swap over and use my hand because you know, it's hard to tell if it's truly mixed together, if it's not like a super wet dough. You don't want little hunks of flour hiding in there, you know what I mean? Especially since we're not doing anything with this. Now, if we were making it the normal way, we would come back and wet our hands and do a bunch of stretch and folds. So if there was a little bit of dry flour in there, we would take care of that with the extra water on our hands as we do the stretch and folds. But since we're not going to do that with this loaf, since we're just going to put this together and leave it to sit overnight, I want to make sure that everything is really good and incorporated. So make sure if you're doing this that your hand is really clean. Obviously, you don't make sure you're using clean hands because you don't want to serve, you know, you'll be running around the house petting the animals and then come back in here and you have cat hair in your dough. Y'all, let's not do that. Let's not do that. So anyway, like I said, I'm not kneading this. It doesn't need to be kneaded, but I'm just getting all of those dry bits of flour off of there. And once I get this all done, I'm going to use my Cambro container. I call it a bucket, whatever it's called, but it's made by Cambro. Anyway, if y'all do sourdough and you don't have one and you want one, let me know. I can give you the link to the ones I have. I have that one, and then I have one that's bigger, like if I'm making double loaves of bread or whatever. But I spray mine with a little bit of cooking spray. That way it'll help your dough to not dry out overnight, and it will make it easier to come out. And then I kind of press it down in there just so I can see where I'm starting at. And don't measure by where the hump in the middle of your dough is. You'll see when I turn it sideways in a minute. But do it by where like the majority of the level of your dough is. Hopefully that makes sense. And that way you can kind of tell how much it rises up, okay? So I'm going to put that in my little bucket, and then I'm going to put a little food safe shower cap looking thing over the top of it. And I'm going to let it sit over on my stove, because that's kind of the warmest place in my kitchen. My kitchen's cold. And I'm just going to let it sit there overnight until I get ready to fool with it the next morning. It's super simple. Hopefully this is going to work. Fingers crossed, y'all. Good morning, y'all. We are back to check our bread. So let me grab the bread out and then we will turn around and shape it. Now, I've never done this particular method before, so I'm actually not real sure that the dough is ready, but it's been sitting out all night long. So I feel like it's gotta be, and I don't want it to overproof. So we're gonna go ahead and get it out and shape it. So I'm gonna turn the camera around so y'all can see what I'm doing. And then we're gonna see today, excuse me, I just woke up. We're gonna see today if the overnight unloaf, not touch your bread at all during the night works. So anyway, I just cooked my breakfast. I don't know why I fixed my breakfast before I did the bread, but here we are. So anyway, let me grab it out or grab it from over here and then we'll get started. Okay, so I put my apron on just so I won't make a mess of myself. But this is where it is. So we started out with it like down in here and now it's up to here. So I feel like that's doubled. We're about to try this and see how it comes out, but there it is. It's nice and bubbly. I'm gonna get my head out of the picture. It's nice and bubbly and all the things that sourdough is supposed to be. So we'll see. We're gonna see. Fingers crossed, because I hate to waste anything. So fingers crossed this is gonna work. Let's get it shaped up and see what happens. Okay, so I have my what is that? What is that, y'all? A silicone mat. I got my silicone mat out, and you're just going to dump your dough out, and it came out of there pretty clean. See there? It was pretty clean coming out of there. So I am just going to now get this into some sort of a little shape. You don't have to do anything specific. You don't have to fold it like I'm doing. You just need to get it into a ball. And mine is a little bit sticky, but you can see it's not like sticking to my mat or anything like that. So it's fine. It's nice and soft. And I'm just going to work this around until I get it into a pretty good ball and work a little bit of that stickiness out of there. And the more you work it on here, the less sticky it's going to become. Hopefully, if you did it right. That's what's going to happen. But for right now, it's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty promising right now. So I'm a little bit excited, but what we're going to do once we get it shaped into a ball like this, and I'm just kind of pushing and pulling. It's hard for me to do sometimes on this silicone mat because my mat moves a little bit because I had a little flour on my counter. Don't judge me. Anyway, but do the best you can. Then we're going to cover this up and we're going to let it just rest for about an hour. Okay. So after the hour, come back and you can see it's spread out. So we're going to shape it again. Now you see I set my cast iron over there to the side. That's my Dutch oven. It's not hot right now. For this loaf, you not only do you not do the normal getting it ready process, but you don't cook it the same. Normally when you do sourdough, you preheat your oven with your Dutch oven in it for like an hour, 45 minutes or something like that. But we're not doing that with this one. So I am going to reshape the dough. And then we are going to try out, this is my little sling. You can use parchment paper if you don't have one of these slings. I just like the sling because it has like the little handles on it. It makes it a lot easier to get out of the Dutch oven when it's so hot. So I'm going to sit that on my little sling. And now we're going to attempt the stencil. Okay, so I wet my hands just a little bit. That way my rice flour has something to stick to. This is my first time. I am a novice at this. I'm going to watch some videos because I didn't do it good. But you know, you got to try things. You got to try things. So I started to do this one and then I said, you know what? Let me see if there's one that's a little bit smaller. Just for my first time, I didn't want to have to turn too many corners, you know. So the little leaf, branch, whatever, worked out, you know, perfect. It was like right in the center of the bread. And then I used my little sifter. I have a regular, like something that's made for this, but I can't find it. I'm going to have to find it. So I used this, and y'all, I used way too much rice flour, but you know, here we are. So you got to kind of go with it at this point. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to pick it up and it's going to go everywhere. And I did. So I try to blow some of it off here in a minute. Now, I will say the stencil looks mighty pretty.
in my opinion. It looks really pretty. But I definitely didn't do it right. Now I'm just blowing the flour off. There's the hot breath all over my dough ball. But it does look really pretty. I can't wait to practice some more with these and get them right. But anyway, now we need to score our bread. And the reason you score sourdough bread is because it's going to bust somewhere anyway. And if you go ahead and score it, then you're telling it where to bust. Okay? And that way it won't bust in an odd spot, blow out the side or whatever. So this is my new little lamb that my daughter got me. I'm so excited to use this. And that's how you put it together. You just got to be real careful because, you know, it is a razor blade. But it does come with, like, little finger protectors. I just didn't get them out because, you know, I'm just, I don't know, just living on the edge, I guess. So then I debated, where am I going to cut it? And then I just said, you know what, I'm going straight down the middle with it. I didn't know where I wanted to cut it at, but I'm just going to go straight down the middle and we're just going to see what happens. And you will see what happens in a minute. But, anyway, just cut you a little line in there, and then we're going to put this in our Dutch oven. And I have my Dutch oven upside down. I'm actually going to cook this in the lid because I can do that with this particular Dutch oven. So there it is. And then I'm going to flip the bottom and put the bottom on the top. That way I don't have to dig so far to get my bread out. Does that make sense? And I had no idea the bottom of that pot was rusty because I only use it for sourdough. So anyway, this goes into a cold oven, and then you're going to set your temperature to 450 and your timer for 1 hour. Okay, after 1 hour, you're going to remove the lid. And I have got Christmas and Halloween. The Halloween one right there is just burnt from sourdough. It's not dirty. So after an hour, we're going to pull this out. You're going to take the top off, or the bottom off in my case, and that's what our bread looks like. And then we're going to drop the temperature to 425 degrees Fahrenheit and cook it for another 10 to 15 minutes. However, I did not do the temperature right. I accidentally just put it to 400 when I initially did this, and I don't know how I ended up doing that. So I had to really play with the temperature and the time on mine. But it worked out. But yeah, make sure that you use the correct temperatures when you're making your dough. And you can see that my little stencil looks really pretty. But since I cut down the middle of it, you can't really tell what it is. So that kind of broke my heart. But now I know, and I'll probably just cut around the stencil next time. I don't know. Lots of work I need to do. But the bread came out good, y'all. I was excited because now I'm like, I don't have to do all that work and waste a whole day doing stretch and folds. I probably still will do it the old way if I'm adding inclusions in it. But look, our bottom is nice and brown, but not burnt. What I do with mine is I sit a cookie sheet on the rack underneath my sourdough where it's going to be cooking at. And that way it disperses the heat and you don't burn the bottom of your bread. So now I'm just going to let it sit until it cools down completely because we don't want to cut it hot or we'll end up with gummy bread. So it's been cooling. It cooled, gosh, I don't know how long, hours. I made sure it was completely cooled. And now we're just going to cut into it and we're going to see what she looks like in the middle. And yes, I cut on my counter all the time. It'll be fine. I mean, I'm not going to hurt the counter, obviously, so... There's the inside of our bread. Now, it's not exactly how I wish it would be. It's real irregular with some, like, big holes. It might have been a little bit underproofed, but it still tastes delicious. So I think if I would have gotten my temperature right, I just wanted to kick myself because I can't believe I've never done the wrong temperature before. But, you know, here we are. But it did turn out okay, and it is stinking delicious. It is so good. I'm going to go ahead and just carve me off a little corner over here and get a little taste. I didn't want a real big piece from the middle. I'm going to get this little corner piece over here. But it's really, really good, y'all. So if you want to make sourdough but you've been intimidated, try this recipe because you see it turned out really, really good. It's delicious. I loved it, y'all.
Okay, y'all, so you saw how our bread turned out. I'm pretty pleased with it, actually. I think the reason it was a tiny bit gummy, it's not really gummy, but like you can tell it wasn't exactly as proofed as I needed it to be. I don't know. I wanted it a little bit softer, but it's super squishy and it's really good if you like sourdough. And I don't make mine super sour. So if you've never tried making your own sourdough bread, give it a try. But what I was saying, I think it would have come out perfect had I actually gotten the temperature of the oven right. So, because I had to kind of play around with the temperature when I realized I didn't heat it to a high enough temperature. I have never done that. I guess I get sidetracked, or I got sidetracked today. But anyway, that is the sourdough bread. So I'm gonna go enjoy my little hunk of bread, and I will let y'all get back to the video. Thank y'all so much for hanging out with me. We didn't do anything except for take all of the Christmas decorations down, which I am glad to have done because I love Christmas decorations. But when Christmas is done, I'm ready to get my house back to normal. So thank y'all again for hanging out with me, keeping me company, holding me to, what am I trying to say? Keeping me accountable for doing the things that I say that I'm gonna do. So anyway, that is all I have for y'all today, and I'll see y'all real soon. Bye, y'all.